You invested at Facebook at a $5 million valuation.
Yes, yeah. But they had, they had 100,000. They had 100,000 users. It was growing really fast. They only needed money to buy more computers because there was so much demand for the service. So that's actually always a pretty good sign.
And Sean Parker introduced you to him, to Zuckerberg, or he had you?
Sean Reed had looked at it a little bit, so there were a few different points of contact.
What was the first meeting like?
You know, it was not like a show on Shark Tank. It was Zuckerberg was 19 years old. He was still pretty introverted. Sean did most of the talking. So if you base it, people always exaggerate how important these pitch meetings are. Reid Hoffman and I had spent about a year looking at all these social networking sites before that. So we were ready to write the check before we met, and didn't really matter what people were going to say.
And what was it about that business that made you so convinced it would be a game changer? Because I remember at the time, we weren't all convinced. There was something you guys knew that we didn't know.
Well, I don't know, a few different pieces, but I think there was an intensity of usage that was already very, very big. It was very promising. It had all these network effects, which I think are never to be underestimated. There was something about the college market that was probably being underestimated. I think investors always have a bias to invest in things they themselves use, and they undervalue things they don't use. So there aren't very many investors who are in college. So anything that's just big on college will be somewhat underrated systematically. And there was a bunch of different things that added up like that.
And take me to Palantir, because this is another one of the major companies of our generation, of this last wave. What is that? It's worth $10 billion or something in that range?
It's something maybe a little north of there.
A little north of there. And you were an angel investor / co-founder of this company.
Yes.
And how much was that company worth when you started and invested in it?
Well, we did the first angel round like 800,000 valuation, and then we did a
$800,000 valuation.
Went up from there.
Yeah.
Convertible loans went up from there.
So, but you don't angel invest anymore. You just do venture capital now?
I don't know if there's really sort of a bright line. We do everything from seed to Series A to B, C, D, all the way up the spectrum. I would say my single overarching idea, both in my book 0 to 1 and in terms of investing, is that I believe, I think most people always tell you, most business books, most business advice, always how to be better at competing, how to compete more effectively. And I believe that the key is not to compete at all. The key is to do something that nobody else is doing. The politically incorrect word for it is that you should have a monopoly. We can debate at what points monopolies are good or bad for society, but from the inside, if you're a founder, early investor, early employee at a company, you always want to aim for monopoly. And so I'm ready to invest at whatever point I'm convinced it's going to be a monopoly.
And Facebook, you felt like this is going to be the dominant social network, and there'll be only one major one.
I'd like to say that I had that much figured out. I thought it would be dominant on college campuses, and that would be worth a lot more than $5 million. I didn't really think it was going to be quite as big as it turned out to be.